My son's wife looked me straight in the eye and said, "Pack your bags and get out of this house. You are too old to be living here with us." My son stood beside her and said nothing. I smiled at them both and quietly walked away. What they did not know was that I owned every single brick of that house. And by morning everything would change. Before we proceed, thank you for watching her voice narrative. Please subscribe and tell us where you are watching from in the comment section. I am Sarah Mitchell and I am 61 years old. This house on Riverside Avenue has been my home for 35 years. My husband Daniel and I bought it when we were newlyweds. We painted every wall together. We planted the garden together. We raised our son Marcus in these rooms. When Daniel died of cancer 7 years ago, this house became my sanctuary. It held all my memories of him. The kitchen where he made pancakes every Sunday morning. The backyard where he taught Marcus to ride a bike. The bedroom where we spent our last nights together. Marcus is my only child. I worked as a school secretary for 30 years to give him a good life. After his father died, I worked extra hours to pay for his college education. I never complained. I never asked him for anything in return. All I wanted was for my son to be happy and successful. When Marcus told me he was getting married 3 years ago, I was overjoyed. Her name was Jessica and she seemed pleasant enough. She smiled a lot and said all the right things. She called me mom and hugged me at family dinners. I thought I was gaining a daughter. 6 months after their wedding, Marcus came to me with a request. "Mom," he said, "Jessica and I are trying to save money for our future. We want to buy our own house someday. Would it be okay if we stayed with you for a while? Just until we get on our feet?" Of course I said yes. What kind of mother would I be if I refused to help my own son? I cleaned out the upstairs bedrooms. I made space in the closets. I welcomed them into my home with open arms. I told them to stay as long as they needed. The first few months were actually nice. Jessica cooked dinner sometimes and we would all eat together. Marcus seemed happy. We watched movies on Friday nights. I thought this was what family was supposed to feel like. But slowly things started to change. Jessica began rearranging my furniture without asking. She moved my photographs off the mantel and replaced them with her own decorations. She threw away my curtains and hung new ones. When I gently mentioned that I liked my old curtains, she laughed and said, "Oh Sarah, those were so outdated. Trust me, this looks much better." I tried to be understanding. Young people have different tastes. Maybe I was being too sensitive. But then she started making comments about my cooking. She would wrinkle her nose at my meals and order takeout instead. She stopped joining us for dinner and ate in her room. Marcus started eating with her instead of with me. I found myself eating alone at my own kitchen table. Then came the bigger changes. Jessica started talking about renovations. She wanted to knock down walls and install new countertops. She brought contractors to the house without telling me. They measured rooms and took notes while I stood there confused. When I asked what was happening, she said, "We're just getting quotes for when this becomes our house. Do not worry about it." Her words chilled me. When this becomes our house. Not if. When. I tried to talk to Marcus about it. I pulled him aside one evening and said, "Son, I feel like I am being pushed out of my own home." He sighed and said, "Mom, you are being dramatic. Jessica is just trying to help. She has good ideas. Can you please just try to get along with her?" I felt like I had been slapped. My own son was dismissing my feelings. But I swallowed my hurt and tried harder to be accommodating. Jessica started making more demands. She told me not to use the living room during the day because she worked from home and needed quiet. She asked me to stop having my friends over because they were too loud. She complained about the smell of my coffee in the morning. She even suggested I should think about moving into a retirement community. "You would have so much fun there," she said with a fake smile. "People your own age to talk to. Activities and games. Would not that be nice?" I felt my world shrinking. I was becoming a guest in my own home. I started staying in my bedroom more. I stopped cooking big meals. I tiptoed around trying not to bother anyone. I watched my son become a stranger. He stopped calling me mom and started calling me Sarah like his wife did. He stopped asking about my day. He looked right through me as if I was invisible. The worst part was the whispering. I would come home and hear them talking in hushed voices. The moment I walked in, they would stop and stare at me. One night I came home early from my book club meeting. I heard them in the kitchen talking. I stood in the hallway and listened. My heart was pounding. Jessica was saying once we get her out, we can finally make this place ours. We can renovate everything. This house is worth at least $700,000 in this market. Maybe more. Marcus said something I could not hear clearly, but he did not sound like he was disagreeing. Jessica continued, we just need to convince her to leave. Make her think it is her idea. Maybe tell her the house is too much work for someone her age. My hands were shaking. I backed away quietly and went to my room. I could not sleep that night. My own son was plotting to take my house from me. The next few weeks were torture. I watched them carefully. I noticed how Jessica looked at my house like it already belonged to her. How she measured walls and made plans. How Marcus avoided looking me in the eye. I felt betrayed and heartbroken, but I did not know what to do. This was my son. My only child. How could he do this to me? Then came the night that changed everything. It was a Thursday evening in late September. I had just finished washing dishes when Jessica walked into the kitchen. Marcus followed behind her like a shadow. Jessica crossed her arms and looked at me with cold eyes. Sarah, we need to have a serious conversation, she said. I dried my hands and turned to face them. My stomach was in knots. What is it? I asked. Jessica did not waste time with pleasantries. This living situation is not working anymore, she said. Marcus and I need our space. We are planning to start a family and we cannot do that with you here. The words hit me like a punch. With me here. This was my house. I looked at Marcus, desperately hoping he would say something. Anything. But he just stood there staring at the floor. Jessica continued, you need to find your own place. There are apartments for rent all over town. You could get a nice little one-bedroom somewhere. It would be good for you to have your own space. My voice came out shaky. But this is my home. I have lived here for 35 years. Jessica rolled her eyes. Sarah, be realistic. This house is too big for one person. You do not need all this space. Marcus and I are young. We are building our future. You have already lived your life. It is time for you to step aside. Her words were like knives. I turned to my son. Marcus, I said quietly, is this what you want? Do you want your mother to leave her own home? He finally looked at me. His face was red and he could not hold my gaze. Mom, he said, maybe it would be better. For everyone. Jessica is right. You would probably be happier in a smaller place. Somewhere easier to manage. Something inside me broke in that moment. My son. The boy I had raised. The child I had sacrificed everything for. He was choosing this woman over his own mother. He was choosing a house over me. I looked at both of them standing there in my kitchen, waiting for me to break down, waiting for me to cry and beg. But instead something strange happened. A calmness came over me. Cold, clear certainty. I smiled at them. It was not a warm smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. All right, I said softly. I will start looking for a place. Their faces showed surprise and then relief. Really, Jessica asked. You are not going to fight this? No, I said. You have made yourselves very clear. I will be out of your way soon. Marcus looked almost guilty. Mom, you understand, right? This is not personal. It is just what is best for everyone. Of course, I said. I understand perfectly. I left them standing in the kitchen and went to my bedroom. I closed the door and locked it. Then I sat on my bed and let myself feel the full weight of what had just happened. My son had betrayed me. He had chosen a manipulative woman over his own mother. He had agreed to throw me out of my own house. But he did not know something important. Something I had never told him. When Daniel died, he left everything to me. The house, the savings, everything. It was all in my name. Only my name. Marcus assumed the house would be his one day. I had never corrected that assumption. I had thought there would be time. I had thought my son would always love me and care for me. I had been so wrong. I went to my closet and pulled out a metal box from the top shelf. Inside were all my important documents. I took out the deed to the house. There was in black and white. Sarah Louise Mitchell, sole owner. I had purchased this house with my husband 35 years ago. When he died, it became mine alone. Every mortgage payment had been made by me. Every property tax bill paid by me. Every repair and renovation funded by me. This house was mine in every legal sense. I sat there holding that document, and a plan began to form in my mind. Marcus and Jessica thought they had won. They thought they had successfully manipulated me into leaving. They had no idea what was coming. I would let them think they had won. I would play along. But I would also protect myself and teach them both a lesson they would never forget. The next morning I went to see a lawyer. His name was Richard Chen, and he had handled Daniel's estate when he passed away. "Richard, I need your help," I said. I told him everything. The manipulation. The demands. The plans to take my house. He listened carefully, and his face grew darker with each detail. "Sarah," he said when I finished, "what they are trying to do is unconscionable. But you have the law completely on your side. This is your house. You can evict them whenever you want." "I know," I said. "But I want to do this right. I want everything documented and legal. I do not want them to have any way to fight back or claim I was unfair." Richard nodded. "Then we will build an airtight case. First, I want you to document everything. Every conversation. Every demand. Every threat. Colorado is a one-party consent state, which means you can record conversations without telling them. I want you to get proof of their intentions." I bought a small recording device that same day. For the next 2 weeks, I recorded everything. I captured Jessica talking about renovation plans and how much money they would make when they sold my house. I recorded Marcus agreeing with her and discussing which real estate agent they should use. I recorded Jessica telling her friends on the phone that she had finally convinced the old woman to leave. She laughed about it. She called me a stubborn old bat who did not know when to step aside. Every word was captured. Every cruel laugh. Every cold dismissal. I took the recordings to Richard. "This is perfect," he said. "This shows clear intent to defraud you of your property. It shows manipulation and elder abuse. We have everything we need." Now, I said, "What do I do next?" Richard explained the eviction process. Since they were not paying rent and had no formal lease agreement, I could give them a 30-day notice to vacate. It had to be in writing and officially delivered. After 30 days, if they refused to leave, I could involve the sheriff's office to physically remove them. "It is completely legal," Richard assured me. "You are the property owner. They are essentially guests who have overstayed their welcome." We prepared the eviction notice together. It was formal and legal and final. I held the documents in my hands and felt a strange mix of sadness and satisfaction. Sadness because this meant losing my son, at least for now. Satisfaction because I was finally taking control of my own life again. But I was not ready to serve them the papers yet. I wanted them to feel comfortable first. Secure in their victory. So I played my part perfectly. I started looking at apartment listings and leaving them open on my computer for them to see. I called retirement communities and asked for brochures. I made sure Jessica saw me researching moving companies. She smiled every time. That smug, satisfied smile that made my blood boil. But I smiled back and acted defeated. One evening, Jessica actually patted my shoulder and said, "I am proud of you, Sarah. This is very mature of you. You are doing the right thing for everyone." I wanted to laugh in her face. Instead, I nodded and said, "Thank you, dear. I just want everyone to be happy." Marcus seemed relieved that I was not fighting them. He started being a little nicer to me. He would ask how my day was. He would sit with me during dinner again. I think he felt guilty but also grateful that I was making this easy. I decided to play one more card before revealing the truth. I wanted them to fully commit to their plan. So I told them I had found an apartment. "It is a small one-bedroom near downtown," I said over breakfast one Saturday. "I can move in at the end of the month." Jessica's eyes lit up. "That is wonderful, Sarah. I'm so happy for you. You're gonna love having your own space." Marcus nodded. That is great, Mom. Do you need help moving? I smiled sweetly. That is very kind of you. I think I can manage. Jessica could barely contain her excitement. She immediately started talking about paint colors and furniture. She pulled out her phone and showed Marcus pictures of renovations. They were already planning what to do with my house. With my home. The home I had built with my husband. The home where I had raised my son. They were carving it up like a prize. That night I called Richard. I am ready, I said. Let us do this. He prepared the final documents. Official 30-day eviction notices for both Marcus and Jessica. We scheduled a process server to deliver them. I wanted everything done by the book. No room for mistakes or accusations. The process server arrived on a Wednesday afternoon. I had made sure I would not be home. I did not want to see their faces when they received the papers. I went to have coffee with my friend Linda and waited. My phone rang an hour later. It was Marcus. His voice was panicked and angry. Mom, what is this? What are these papers? Some guy just served us with an eviction notice. This has to be a mistake. There is no mistake, Marcus, I said calmly. Those papers are real. You and Jessica have 30 days to vacate my property. His voice rose. Your property? What are you talking about? This house belongs to our family. This house belongs to me, I corrected him. Only me. Has always been in my name. Only my name. Your father left it to me when he died and I have never added anyone else to the deed. There was silence on the other end. Then I heard Jessica's voice in the background screeching. What does she mean it is her house? Marcus, what is she saying? I continued speaking, my voice steady and cold. You both made it very clear that you wanted me out of this house. You manipulated me. You plotted against me. You treated me like an inconvenient obstacle. Well, congratulations. You got what you wanted. I am leaving. But so are you. Marcus was sputtering. Wait. Let us talk about this. We can work something out. There is nothing to work out, I said. You have 30 days to find somewhere else to live. I suggest you start looking. But Mom, Jessica's voice came on the line. She must have grabbed the phone from Marcus. You cannot do this. We have rights. We live here. You are guests, I said firmly. Guests who have overstayed their welcome. And I am exercising my legal right as the property owner to reclaim my home. She started screaming. You manipulative old witch. You lied to us. You let us think this was going to be our house. I never lied about anything, I replied. You made assumptions. You never asked. You just decided that what was mine should be yours. Well, you were wrong. The line went dead. She had hung up on me. I sat in the coffee shop feeling strange. Not victorious exactly. Just tired. Linda reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You did the right thing, she said. I know it hurts, but they left you no choice. He nodded. I knew she was right. But it still hurt. That was my son. My only child. And I had just evicted him from my home. I went back to my house that evening expecting a confrontation. What I found was worse. Marcus and Jessica were in the living room and they had been crying. When I walked in, Jessica jumped up. Her face was red and her eyes were swollen. How could you do this to us, she wailed. We trusted you. We planned our whole future around this house. Your future was never supposed to include stealing my home, I said quietly. Marcus stood up. His face was a mix of anger and hurt. Mom, I am your son. How can you throw me out? You threw me out first, I reminded him. You stood there and agreed when Jessica told me to find my own place. You chose her manipulation over your own mother. That was different, he said weakly. We were just trying to make a better situation for everyone. By forcing me out of my own home. I shook my head. No, Marcus. You were trying to take something that belonged to me. Something I worked for. Something your father and I built together. And you did it without any guilt or remorse. Jessica stepped forward. Her tears had dried and now her face showed pure rage. You are going to regret this, she hissed. We will fight you. We will get a lawyer. We will prove you are incompetent. We will tell everyone what a terrible mother you are. Go ahead, I said calmly. I have already consulted with a lawyer. I have recordings of everything you have said. Every plan you made. Every cruel word. If you want to fight me, you will lose. And you will lose badly. Her face went pale. You recorded us. That is illegal. No, I said. In Colorado, I only need one party consent to record a conversation. That one party is me. Everything I did was completely legal. Everything you tried to do was not. The fight seemed to drain out of her. She sat down heavily on the couch. My couch. In my living room. Marcus looked lost. Mom, please. Is not there some way we can fix this? Can we not talk about this like a family? We stopped being a family when you decided I was disposable, I said. My voice cracked slightly, but I held firm. You have 30 days. I suggest you use them wisely. I went to my bedroom and locked the door. I heard them arguing downstairs. Jessica was screaming at Marcus, blaming him, calling him stupid for not verifying who owned the house. He was trying to defend himself, but his voice was weak. I lay in my bed and cried. Not for them. For the relationship I had lost. For the son who had betrayed me. For the future I had imagined that would never happen now. The next few days were tense and horrible. Jessica stopped speaking to me entirely. She would glare at me when we passed in the hallway. Marcus tried a few more times to talk to me. To convince me to change my mind. Each time I refused. Mom, he said one morning, Jessica is pregnant. You are going to throw out your pregnant daughter-in-law? You are going to deny your grandchild a home? I looked at him carefully. Is she really pregnant, or is this another manipulation? He looked uncomfortable. She says she is. She took a test. Show me the test, I said. Show me proof. He could not. 'Cause there was no proof. It was just another lie. Another attempt to make me feel guilty. I am done with the lies, Marcus, I said. If she is pregnant, then you both have 30 days to find a suitable place for your growing family. If she is not, then you have 30 days to find a place anyway. Either way, the answer is the same. As the deadline approached, their behavior got worse. Jessica started breaking things. Small things at first. My favorite coffee mug mysteriously shattered. Picture frame fell off the wall. My garden flowers were trampled. I documented everything. Took pictures. Sent them to Richard. This is harassment, he said. If it continues, we can get a restraining order. 1 week before the deadline, I came home to find Jessica in the master bedroom. My bedroom. She was going through my closet. What are you doing? I demanded. She spun around. Her face was twisted with anger. I am looking for the deed, she said. I know you have it somewhere. You have no right to go through my things, I said. Get out of my room now. She laughed. Cruel, harsh sound. Your room. This whole house should be ours. You are just a bitter old woman who cannot stand to see young people happy. You are just a selfish thief who tried to steal what does not belong to you, I countered. Now get out before I call the police. He shoved past me. Her shoulder hit mine hard. It was intentional. Aggressive. I stumbled but caught myself. I pulled out my phone and took a picture of my room. Evidence of her trespassing. That night I heard them fighting. Their voices carried through the walls. Jessica was yelling at Marcus. This is your fault. You said this house would be ours. You said your mother would give it to you eventually. Now we have nothing. Where are we supposed to go? Marcus was crying. I could hear it in his voice. I do not know, he kept saying. I do not know. Part of me wanted to go to him. To comfort him like I used to when he was a little boy. But I stayed in my room. This was a consequence of his choices. He needed to face it. 3 days before the deadline, they told me they had found an apartment. It was small and expensive and far from downtown. Jessica was furious about it. She made sure I knew how unhappy she was. I hope you are satisfied, she spat at me. We are going to be struggling to pay rent while you sit in this huge house all alone. You made your choices, I said simply. Now you live with them. Moving day arrived. I had hired a lawyer to be present. Richard stood in my driveway with a clipboard documenting everything. I also hired 2 professional movers. Not to help them but to witness and make sure nothing went missing. Marcus and Jessica loaded their belongings into a rental truck. They had a lot less than I expected. Most of the furniture in the house was mine, things they had assumed they could keep. Jessica tried one last time to claim items. The kitchen table, she said. I refinished that. Should come with us. That is my table, I said firmly. You refinished it without my permission. Says. She tried to argue, but Richard stepped in. Ms. Mitchell is the property owner. All furnishings belong to her unless you can provide receipts proving you purchased them. She could not provide receipts because she had not bought anything. They had been living off me for 3 years. By noon the truck was loaded. Marcus came to me one final time. His eyes were red from crying. Mom, he said quietly, I am sorry. I know you do not believe me, but I am. I looked at my son. The boy I had raised. The man he had become. I'm sorry too, I said. Sorry that it came to this. Sorry that you let someone poison you against your own mother. Maybe one day you will understand what you did. Maybe one day you will realize what you threw away. He looked like he wanted to say more, but Jessica called his name from the truck. He walked away without looking back. I watched them drive off. Richard stood beside me. How do you feel? He asked. I said. But also relieved. They were gone. My house was mine again. I walked through each room slowly. Felt different now. Quieter. Cleaner. Could breathe again. The first thing I did was change all the locks. Richard had advised this. Then I cleaned. I scrubbed every surface. I washed every dish. I erased their presence from my home. It took 3 days, but when I was finished, the house felt like mine again. I rearranged furniture back to where it used to be. I hung up my old curtains. I put my photographs back on the mantel. I was reclaiming my space. My friends rallied around me. Linda came over with wine and we sat in my living room. You are glowing, she said. I have not seen you this happy in years. I am free, I told her. For the first time in 3 years I feel free in my own home. She raised her glass. To freedom and to standing up for yourself. We toasted. I felt lighter than I had in years. But there was still sadness. Marcus was my son. I loved him despite everything. I missed him. Not the man he had become, but the boy he used to be. The sweet child who would bring me flowers from the garden. The teenager who would tell me about his dreams. That Marcus seemed lost now. Buried under manipulation and weakness. 2 weeks after they moved out, Marcus called me. His voice was small. Mom, can we talk? In person. I hesitated. Then agreed. We met at a coffee shop. Neutral ground. He looked terrible. His eyes were sunken. His clothes were wrinkled. He had lost weight. Mom, he started, then stopped. Tears filled his eyes. Messed up. I messed up so badly. Yes, I said gently. You did. Jessica left me, he continued. She said I was too attached to you. That I chose you over her. She moved back to her parents' house in California. She wants a divorce. I'm sorry, I said. And I meant it. I did not like Jessica, but I did not want my son to hurt either. He wiped his eyes. I've been going to therapy. Trying to figure out how I let things get so bad. My therapist says I have trouble setting boundaries. That I let Jessica control me because I was afraid of being alone. That is good, I said. That you are getting help. That is a good first step. He looked at me hopefully. Do you think we can fix this? Can I earn back your trust? I do not know, I said honestly. Marcus, you hurt me deeply. You chose a manipulative woman over your own mother. You tried to steal my home. That is not something I can just forget. I know, he whispered. I'm not asking you to forget. I'm just asking for a chance to prove I can do better. We talked for 2 hours. It was the most honest conversation we had in years. I told him how hurt I was. How betrayed I felt. How scared I had been. He listened and cried and apologized. It was not enough to fix everything, but it was a start. I told him I needed time. That trust was not rebuilt overnight. He nodded. He understood. We agreed to meet once a month for coffee. To slowly rebuild our relationship. No promises. No guarantees. Just 2 people trying to find their way back to each other. Months passed. Marcus continued therapy. He got his own apartment. A small one-bedroom that he paid for himself. He started taking responsibility for his life. We met for coffee regularly. The conversations were sometimes awkward, but they were real. He told me about his therapy sessions, about what he was learning about himself. I told him about my life, about my friends and my hobbies. We were learning to be individuals again, not just mother and son trapped in old patterns. One day he asked me about the house. Do you ever regret it? Evicting us? I thought about it carefully. No, I said. I regret that it had to happen. I regret that you put me in that position. But I do not regret standing up for myself. I needed to protect myself and my home. He nodded slowly. Understand. I'm glad you did it. I needed that wake-up call. I needed to hit rock bottom before I could start climbing back up. As for Jessica, I heard through mutual acquaintances that she had moved on quickly. She was already engaged to someone else. Some older man with money. I felt sorry for him. He had no idea what he was getting into. Marcus seemed relieved when he heard. He told me he could see clearly now how she had manipulated him, how she had isolated him from me, how she had used him to get what she wanted. It is hard to admit you were played, he said. But I was weak and stupid and I let her use me. You were not stupid, I told him. You were lonely and she took advantage of that. But you are learning. You are growing. That is what matters now. Our relationship improved slowly. Very slowly. There were setbacks. Times when old hurts would surface. Times when I would see him and feel a flash of anger or pain. But we kept working at it. We kept showing up. We kept trying. I started to enjoy my life again. I took a painting class. I joined a hiking group. I traveled to places I had always wanted to see. I went to Italy and walked through ancient ruins. I went to Ireland and stood on green cliffs overlooking the ocean. I was living my life for myself. Not for anyone else. Just for me. And it felt wonderful. My house became my sanctuary again. I would sit in my living room with my coffee and my books and feel content. This was my space. My peace. My home. No one could take that from me again. I had learned my lesson. I had learned to set boundaries. To stand up for myself. To not let guilt or obligation make me sacrifice my own well-being. People sometimes ask me if I regret being harsh with Marcus and Jessica. They ask if I feel guilty for evicting them. My answer is always the same. Well, I protected myself from people who tried to harm me. That is not something to feel guilty about. Family does not give anyone the right to abuse you or take advantage of you. Love should not require you to sacrifice your dignity or your security. I see Marcus regularly now. Our relationship is not what it was, but it is something. It is honest. It is real. He respects me now in a way he did not before. He sees me as a person with boundaries and strength. Not just as mom who would give him anything he wanted. That is healthier for both of us. He is building his own life now. He got a promotion at work. He is dating someone new. A kind woman who treats him well. He seems happy. Genuinely happy. Not the false happiness he had with Jessica. One afternoon he came to visit. We sat in my backyard under the trees his father had planted. Mom, he said, I want you to know something. I am proud of you. Proud of me? I asked, surprised. He nodded. You stood up for yourself when it would have been easier to just give in. You taught me that self-respect matters more than keeping the peace. That was a hard lesson, but I needed to learn it. Thank you for being strong enough to teach me. His words brought tears to my eyes. That meant more to me than any apology. It meant he finally understood. He finally saw what I had been trying to protect. Not just a house but my dignity. My right to live in peace in my own home. My right to be treated with respect and love. Looking back now, I can see the whole journey clearly. Pain. The betrayal. The fear. But also the strength I found within myself. The courage to stand up even when it meant standing alone. I am 61 years old and I am stronger now than I have ever been. I know my worth. I know my rights. And I will never again let anyone make me feel small in my own home. My house on Riverside Avenue is still my sanctuary. The walls still hold memories of Daniel. The garden still blooms with his roses. But now it also holds new memories. Memories of me reclaiming my life. Of me standing firm. Of me choosing myself. And that makes it even more precious. This is not just a house. It is a symbol of my strength. A reminder that I survived. That I fought back. That I won. So to anyone out there facing something similar, let me tell you this. You are not wrong for setting boundaries. You are not cruel for protecting yourself. You are not selfish for refusing to be taken advantage of. Family or not, no one has the right to abuse your kindness. No one has the right to manipulate you or steal from you. Stand up for yourself. Fight back. Protect what is yours. You are stronger than you think. And you deserve to live in peace and dignity in your own home. My story could have ended differently. I could have given in. I could have let them take my house. I could have moved into some small apartment and watched them live in my home. But I did not. Chose myself. I chose my dignity. Chose my peace. And I have never regretted that choice. Not for a single moment. This house is mine. This life is mine. And no one will ever take that from me again. 6 months after the eviction, something unexpected happened. I was in my garden planting new roses when my phone rang. It was a number I did not recognize. I almost did not answer, but something made me pick up. "Hello," I said. "Is this Sarah Mitchell?" A woman's voice asked. "Yes, this is Sarah." "Who is calling?" "My name is Patricia Brooks. I am Jessica's mother." My heart sank. I had never met Jessica's parents. She had kept them separate from our family. I braced myself for anger or accusations. "Mrs. Mitchell," Patricia continued, "I want to apologize to you." Her voice was shaking. "I need you to know what kind of person my daughter really is." I was confused. "What do you mean?" She sighed heavily. "Jessica did the same thing to my mother. 5 years ago, she convinced my mother to sign over her house. Said she would take care of her. Said it would be easier for estate planning. My mother trusted her. Within 6 months, Jessica had my mother in a nursing home and was trying to sell the property. Felt cold all over. We fought for 2 years in court to get the house back. We finally won, but my mother died during the legal battle. The stress killed her. Jessica never showed any remorse. She just moved on to her next target. That was Marcus and you. I sat down on my garden bench. My legs felt weak. "I'm so sorry," I managed to say. "I did not know." Patricia's voice was thick with emotion. "When I heard what she tried to do to you, I knew I had to warn you. But I see you were smarter than my mother. You protected yourself." "I wish I had known," I said. "I wish I could have warned Marcus." "You did warn him by standing up for yourself," Patricia said firmly. "My daughter is a predator. She finds kind people and she uses them. Marcus was her victim too. Please do not blame him too much. He was manipulated by someone very skilled at manipulation." We talked for an hour. Patricia told me more about Jessica's history. The lies. The schemes. The people she had hurt. It was chilling. Before we hung up, Patricia said one more thing. "Mrs. Mitchell, what you did took courage. You saved not just your house but possibly your life. My mother died of a broken heart after losing her home. You survived because you fought back. Do not ever doubt that you did the right thing." After that call, I felt a shift inside me. The last bits of guilt I had been carrying melted away. I had not been cruel. I had not overreacted. I had protected myself from a dangerous person. And I had inadvertently protected Marcus too, even though he could not see it at the time. I called Marcus and told him about the conversation with Patricia. He was silent for a long time. Then he said, "Oh my God, Mom. I'm so sorry. I brought that person into your life. Into your home. I put you in danger." "You did not know," I said gently. "Neither of us knew. But now we do. And now we can both heal and move forward." That conversation was a turning point for both of us. Marcus finally understood the full scope of what had happened. He finally saw Jessica for who she really was. And he finally understood why I had to do what I did. Our relationship grew stronger after that. The guilt he had been carrying lifted. The resentment I had been holding softened. We were both victims of the same person. And we could heal together. A year after the eviction, Marcus came to visit on a Sunday afternoon. He had brought someone with him. "Mom," he said nervously, "I want you to meet Elena. She is my girlfriend." Elena was a petite woman with kind eyes and a warm smile. She shook my hand and said, "Mrs. Mitchell, I have heard so much about you. Marcus talks about you all the time." We sat in my living room and talked for hours. Elena was a teacher. She was kind and genuine, and she looked at Marcus with real love. Not the calculating look Jessica had, but true, honest love. I could see that Marcus was different with her. More confident. More himself. Before they left, Elena pulled me aside. "Mrs. Mitchell," she said quietly, "I know what happened with Jessica. Marcus told me everything. I want you to know that I respect what you did. You taught Marcus an important lesson about self-worth and boundaries. He is a better man because of it." Her words touched me deeply. "Thank you," I said. "Please take care of my son." She smiled. "I will. And I hope you will let me get to know you better. I would love to have you in our lives. Not to replace my own mother, but to add to our family." I felt tears prick my eyes. I would like that very much. Over the next year, Elena became like a daughter to me. The daughter I thought I was getting with Jessica but never had. Elena respected my home. She asked before changing anything. She thanked me for hosting dinners. She called to check on me. She included me in their plans. She treated me like family. Real family. Not an obstacle to remove, but a person to cherish. Marcus and Elena got engaged on a beautiful spring day. He called me immediately. "Mom," he said, his voice full of joy. "I asked Elena to marry me and she said yes. I want you to know that I learned from my mistakes. This time I am marrying someone who loves me for me. Someone who respects family. Someone who makes me better. I am so happy for you," I said truthfully. "She is wonderful." The wedding was small and beautiful. It was held in my backyard under the trees Daniel had planted. Elena wanted it there. She said, "This house has so much history and love. We want to start our marriage surrounded by that." I cried during the ceremony. Happy tears this time. Watching my son marry someone who truly loved him. Someone who brought out the best in him. Someone who treated him and me with respect and kindness. At the reception, Marcus stood up to make a speech. He looked at me across the garden. "Mom," he said, "I need to say something. A few years ago, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I let someone convince me that my mother was an obstacle instead of a blessing. I tried to take from her instead of being grateful for all she had given me. I hurt the woman who had sacrificed everything for me." He paused, his voice breaking. "But my mom did something incredible. She stood up for herself. She taught me that love without respect is not real love. That family means supporting each other, not using each other. She taught me about boundaries and self-worth and courage. And because of that, I am standing here today as a better man. Mom, I am sorry for what I did. And I am grateful every day that you were strong enough to save both of us." The guests applauded. I wiped away tears. Marcus came over and hugged me. "Thank you for not giving up on me," he whispered. "Thank you for giving me a chance to become the son you deserve." Elena joined our embrace. "Thank you for raising such a good man," she said to me. "Even when he lost his way, the values you taught him were still there. You gave him the foundation to find his way back." 2 years have passed since that wedding day. Marcus and Elena have their own home now. A modest house they bought together. They saved for the down payment themselves. They work hard and they build their life together with honesty and respect. They visit me often. We have Sunday dinners where we laugh and talk and enjoy each other's company. Elena is pregnant now. My first grandchild is due in 3 months. When they told me, I cried again. Happy tears. I am going to be a grandmother. Marcus looked nervous when they shared the news. "Mom," he said, "we want you to be involved. We want our child to know their grandmother. To learn from you. To hear stories about their grandfather Daniel. Is that okay?" "More than okay," I said. "It is everything I ever wanted. We are planning the nursery together." Elena asks my opinion on colors and furniture. She listens to my stories about when Marcus was a baby. She values my experience and my wisdom. This is what family should be. Not manipulation and schemes, but love and respect and genuine care for each other. I think about Jessica sometimes. I wonder where she is and who she is hurting now. I heard through Patricia that she married that older wealthy man. Patricia also heard that she is already trying to convince him to change his will. Some people never change. But that is not my problem anymore. I protected myself. I protected my son. And now we are all building better, healthier lives. My house is full of life again. Not the tense, uncomfortable life of those 3 years with Jessica, but real joyful life. Marcus and Elena visit with their dog. My friends come over for book club meetings. My sister Helen visits from Phoenix. The rooms echo with laughter and conversation and love. This is what I fought for. This peace, this joy, this sense of home. And it was worth every difficult moment, every tear, every fear, every confrontation. It was all worth it to get to this place. I am 63 years old now. I have lived through losing my husband. I have lived through betrayal by my own son. I have lived through manipulation and threats and heartbreak. But I have also lived through victory, through standing up for myself, through reclaiming my life and my home and my dignity. And I have lived to see reconciliation and healing and new beginnings. My life is richer now than it has ever been. Not because of what I have, but because of who I am. I am a woman who knows her worth. A woman who sets boundaries. A woman who fights for herself when necessary. A woman who forgives but does not forget. A woman who builds her life on her own terms. The house on Riverside Avenue is more than just a building to me now. It is a symbol of survival, of strength, of the power of standing up for yourself even when it is hard, even when it means standing alone, even when it means losing people you love temporarily. Because sometimes you have to lose people to find yourself. Sometimes you have to fight to find peace. And sometimes the people you lose find their way back better than they were before. I am sitting in my garden as I finish telling you this story. The roses Daniel planted are in full bloom. Red and pink and white blossoms fill the air with their sweet scent. The sun is warm on my face. I can hear birds singing in the trees. Inside my house there are pictures on the mantel. Daniel and me on our wedding day. Marcus as a baby. Marcus and Elena at their wedding. Soon there will be pictures of my grandchild. This is my legacy. Not just a house, but a home filled with love and memories and hard-won peace. If you are listening to this story and you are facing something similar, please hear me. You are not wrong to protect yourself. You are not selfish to keep what is yours. You are not cruel to set boundaries. People will call you names. They will accuse you of being heartless or bitter or mean. But you know the truth. You know what you have survived. You know what you have overcome. Stand firm in that knowledge. Protect your peace. Protect your home. Protect your dignity. You deserve to live without fear in your own space. You deserve respect from the people in your life. And if they cannot give you that, then you deserve to remove them from your space. Family is important, but family is not an excuse for abuse. Love is important, but love without respect is just manipulation. Sacrifice is sometimes necessary. But sacrificing your entire well-being for someone else's greed is not noble. It is self-destruction. Know the difference. Honor the difference. Live by that difference. I fought for my house. But really, I fought for my right to exist peacefully in my own life. For my right to be treated with dignity and respect. For my right to make decisions about my own property. Those are not unreasonable things to fight for. Those are basic human rights. And I was willing to lose my son temporarily to protect those rights. That was the hardest decision I ever made. But it was also the right decision. The miracle is that I did not lose my son permanently. He found his way back. He grew and learned and became better. But even if he had not, even if he had chosen Jessica and never spoken to me again, I would still have made the same choice. Because I cannot control other people's choices. I can only control my own. And I chose myself. Chose my peace. I chose my dignity. And that is a choice I will never regret. Every person has the right to feel safe in their own home, to feel respected by the people they let into their space, to feel valued and loved for who they are, not for what they can provide. If you do not have that in your life right now, please know that you can change it. You have more power than you think. You have more options than you realize. You have more strength than you know. Use that power. Explore those options. Trust that strength. My house still stands on Riverside Avenue. Strong and solid and beautiful. Just like me. We both survived the storm. We both came through stronger. And we both stand as proof that you can fight back and win. That you can stand up for yourself and survive. That you can lose everything temporarily and still rebuild. That you can face your worst fears and come out the other side. I am living proof that it is possible. My son is living proof that people can change and grow. My home is living proof that what you fight for, you can keep. This is my message to you. Fight for yourself. Stand up for your rights. Protect your peace. Set your boundaries. And do not ever let anyone make you feel guilty for choosing yourself. You are worth fighting for. Your peace is worth protecting. Your home is worth defending. Your dignity is worth preserving. Remember that. Believe that. Live that. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it gives you courage if you need it. I hope it gives you permission if you have been waiting for it. I hope it gives you strength if you are facing your own battle. You are not alone. Others have walked this path. Others have faced these choices. Others have stood up and survived. You can too. Believe in you. Now you need to believe in yourself. Stand tall. Stand firm. Stand strong. Your life is waiting for you on the other side of fear. Go claim it. Fight for it. Live it. You deserve nothing less than peace and respect and dignity in your own home and in your own life. Do not settle for anything less. Ever. This is my final message. My final lesson. The most important thing I learned through all of this. You teach people how to treat you. If you accept disrespect, you will get more disrespect. If you accept manipulation, you will get more manipulation. If you accept being pushed out of your own home, you will lose your home. But if you stand up and say no, if you draw a line and defend it, if you fight for what is yours, then you teach people that you are not to be trifled with. You teach them that you have value. You teach them that you matter. And the people who truly love you will learn that lesson and respect you more. The people who do not love you will leave. And that is okay. Better to be alone with your dignity than surrounded by people who disrespect you. My journey is not over. I still have years ahead of me. Years to enjoy my home. Years to watch my grandchild grow. Years to build new memories. Years to live in the peace I fought so hard to protect. And I will enjoy every moment. Every quiet morning with my coffee. Every afternoon in my garden. Every evening in my living room. Every night in my bed. All of it mine. All of it earned. All of it protected. All of it cherished. This is what victory looks like. Not revenge or bitterness. But peace and joy and contentment. The ability to live your life on your own terms. The freedom to make your own choices. The security of knowing your home is truly yours. That is what I fought for. And that is what I won. And you can win it too. Whatever battle you are facing. Whatever choice you need to make. Whatever stand you need to take. You can do it. You are strong enough. Brave enough. Worthy enough. Believe it. And then live it. Your story is not over. Your best chapters may still be ahead. But you have to fight for them. You have to claim them. You have to protect them. So go. Stand up. Fight back. Reclaim your life. Your peace is waiting. Go get it.